You probably heard the phrase before in marketing and advertising that we know that half our money's being wasted on bad ads. We just don't know which half. Well, I'm here to tell you that's bunk, and you better figure it out or you're going to waste a lot of money and get no traction. So let's get into it. Hi, Brian Stevens. Everything we do on this channel is to teach you how to influence, how to have impact on others. And today I want to get into why your ads are not converting, why they're not working. And there are really four fundamental things that you've always got to think about when you're buying ads. And I'm talking about TV, radio, good old-fashioned billboards, static ads on the internet, social media influencers, wraps around cars. It doesn't really matter what, all right? All of them, it's the same four fundamentals you've got to think about. The first one is you got to think about the targets, who you want to influence. And the biggest struggle you're going to have, the biggest struggle is you're going to go too big. You're going to go too broad, and it's not going to be a narrow enough grouping of people. You got to stick to small groups if you want to have impact, because nobody's got the budget that Coca-Cola does. If you're Coca-Cola, you don't have to listen to me, man. But if you're not Coca-Cola, you don't have Coca-Cola's advertising spend, you got to get in the niche. And remember, the riches are in the niches. And so the more narrowly targeted you can be, the more impact your advertising will be. But you're going to have to be hard. And I'm telling you right now, no matter how narrow you think you've got it, it's not enough. So, here's an example. Females, ages 40 to 45 that live in the South. Not narrow enough. What about moms in that same age bracket? What about ones with 2 children? What about ones that eat Cheerios in the morning, right? You got to keep narrowing it down as much as possible so that you're really hyper-focused with your dollars. And the reason why is because of number 2. Frequency matters. How many times you play that ad over time really matters. And there's so much science on this. I'm not gonna bore you unless you want it. It used to be that you'd have to play an ad on TV. Let's just take TV as an example. You have to play it 7 times before they even noticed that they noticed it. Like the first 6, they weren't even aware that it came across the TV screen. They might have seen it, but it was just completely background noise, and it had no impact. So you have to play it 7 times to that one target individual before they'd see it. Now, we're thinking the science is closer to 9, maybe 10 times. And it's because there's so many different ways to get information. There's so much background noise out there. There's so much information coming at us. There was a Harvard study a few years ago that said 15,000 plus ads a day of some sort of communication at you. So you've got to be really diligent on narrow target audience, and you got to pound on them. You got to pound on them. And you're going to hear this phrase. Somebody's going to say to you, wow, we don't want to bother them. You failed. You've lost. If you don't want to bother people, save your money, man. Keep it in your pocket, because one, you don't have enough money to bother them. Yeah, I know they go, we don't like spam. We don't like that stuff, man. You got to get to them, and you got to be frequent. You got to pound, okay? And there's some formulas out there to do that. And if you want to put anything in the comments or email me, we can kind of walk through that a little bit. But the key is you got to keep after it. There was an old adage in political campaigns, which was a guy, a U.S. senator, would send this was back when mail was big. He'd send a letter every month asking for money. And if you told him to stop, if you complained, if you did anything, he'd start to send you one every week, no matter what you said, because he knew you were listening. And so he was really an effective fundraiser. So you've got to keep that frequency up. Number 3, you might just have a crappy design. Sorry, the design might just be garbage. And we deal a lot with, I'd encourage you to go, maybe we put a link in the channel to the Brain Lady, Dr. W, who's really big into contrasting colors. And there's a reason why I'll talk, donation campaigns now, fundraising campaigns. There's a reason why those boxes are like red and white, contrasting colors, blue and yellow, contrasting colors in the top right in the United States, because we read left to right. And so that's a big ending statement. That's why they put those boxes up there. They know it works. So you got to really look at that design and make sure it's not cluttered. Make sure it's not too busy. And keep this in mind, the KISS principle. Keep it simple. In the Army, we said keep it simple, stupid. In polite society, I guess it's keep it simple, stupendous person or whatever you want to call it. But look, keep your designs and your ads simple and don't convey more than one message per ad. Anytime that you think you're going to convey 5 or 6 things in one ad, they're not going to hear any of it. And I remember had a gentleman, and he was getting ready to meet with the governor, and he wanted to do some kind of media, little spokesperson training, some training on how he should approach the meeting. And he had a book in his hand, and he goes, I'd like to go over these points. And I said, well, how many points you got there? He goes, I got 27. And I said, 27? How long are you with the governor? Like 7 days? He goes, I have 15 minutes. I said, the governor's not going to remember any of it. I mean, you're one of a dozen 15-minute long meetings, and 15 minutes is a lot of time. But he's got dozens of those. He goes, but Brian, all this is important. I said, no. It's all important to you. It's all important to you. Your targets got other things that are important to them. They've got these whole lives that they're leading out there. They're trying to pay their bills. They've got other meetings going on. If you don't keep it simple and keep a really clean design and a really simple message, it's not going to penetrate, man. So please keep it simple. And the fourth is kind of ties into the reach and frequency issue. It's the type of ad. And now we know that certain targets and certain ads do not work. And I'm going to upset some people with this one. Banner ads on the internet don't work. They don't work. Tracker ads can kind of work. And what I mean by a tracker ad is like, you ever like Google bikes and all of a sudden you see a bunch of bike ads everywhere? Well, those kind of work because your mind was already thinking bikes or jewelry or whatever it is. And so those tracker ads kind of pop up and you're like, oh my God, I'm being stalked. And you are being stalked. That's why they call them stalker ads, right? So, but like static banner ads, man, people just cruise right through that. Mail used to be really awesome that everyone was using mail, and then it became not very good. And now people are doing all these internet ads, and so mail's kind of effective now because you don't get as much of it as you used to, and you've got to touch it before you throw it away, which is 15 seconds longer than a banner ad, for instance. Banner ads bad right now. Maybe they'll be good in a couple years, but you've got to know what your audience likes. What TV programs do they watch? And remember, the more narrow the niche, the better able you'll be able to figure out where they like to get and receive information. And so, look, we've covered 4 kind of fast-paced topics today because I want you to stop wasting your money. That phrase, wasted resources, drive me crazy. It drives me crazy. So don't waste your resources. Really figure out who your targets are. Be super narrow. You can expand it a little bit later. Be super frequent with them over time. Just don't stop. So many times campaigns stop right before it starts to take. You got to be patient. And if I'm telling you to be patient, you know you probably need to be because I'm not patient at all. And then you want to make sure, like, look, make the designs simple, contrasting colors, clean, basic, man. Basic. Not a lot of flash, man. Just make it so it's easy to digest. And then the fourth is, well, you got to know what type. In order to reach and frequency, you got to know what type of ads your target audience most cares about. I'm exhausted now. Maybe Jackson will slow this down to 0.75 for you, or you can speed it up. Probably don't need to. But I hope this is helping you realize how best to use your marketing and advertising dollars in whatever you're doing. So good luck out there, and thanks for watching.